This is Spencer Riggs with Design Department and another of engineering's greatest triumphs and blunders. Today, we're talking about BlackBerry's Playbook tablet release in 2011. Now, reading through this story, it plays out exactly as you might expect, given that BlackBerry is no longer in the phone market at all. But some of the choices made seem almost cartoonishly short-sighted. BlackBerry was losing market share to Apple and Android in a big way. They were the original smartphone, and they needed to do something or risk losing it all. The successful launch of the iPad and Android tablet market was the perfect spot for them to jump in and reclaim their position as the ultimate mobile solution for productivity. And with this in mind, they developed their own proprietary operating system, BlackBerry Tablet OS, which only had a handful of apps. And this was the first problem and arguably the largest failure. Rather than releasing a full-featured software development kit to prime the app market in the way that Apple and Android had, they chose to keep it locked down. And this enhanced the security that BlackBerry was known for and still is today, but at the expense of a sea of apps that could have made them much more competitive. And as if this weren't enough, the Playbook had no native email, calendar, or contact app without linking specifically a BlackBerry phone. And this essentially tried to force consumers to buy their phones as well as their tablet and endure all of the issues that came from a totally underdeveloped app market. Now, this went about as well as you could expect and ended up being canceled in 2013. And as easy as it would be to shred them for their performance looking back, hindsight is always 2020. They were trying to move into a new market without enough market research to understand what it was they were actually trying to do. A bit of hubris was also a fairly obvious factor. Choosing not to use Android was an unnecessary move that served only to alienate the customer base. Honestly, they might still be around had they found ways to work within the Android market rather than rejecting it. But they were convinced that they could launch even though the window for competitive service had very much closed. BlackBerry was in a bad position and a scary one for any business. Losing your market share to newcomers in your own sandbox is hard to process. At the end of the day, they were caught up in their internal process and thinking, and it slowed them down so much it killed them.